welcome back to Rue's Life. And it's time for April's plot and polytunnel tour. And I've got lots going on. So without further ado, I'm going to take you around and show you what's going on here at the plot. So let's start here at the new flower bed, and I've got lots of seedlings in the polytunnel which are doing really well, which I'll be showing you. But at the moment, here I've got some cranesbill. Just here are the alliums that I sowed, and they're starting to come up, and I'm going to get a little bit closer and show you those in a moment. And then at the far end, here is the rudbeckia that I had in a pot. I've just planted it whole. I was going to split it, but time was against me on the day that I did it, and I just wanted to get it in because it wasn't going to survive in that pot without good watering. I just wanted it in the ground. It was getting a bit pot bound. And then there's some more just here, some of the alliums, and then in the corner here is the lavender, and I'll get you a bit closer to those now. And then here we've got the rudbeckia. Again, along here are more allium, and here is the lavender. And then in this pot here, I haven't investigated fully, but it's something that came from Chris's mum. I think it could be raspberry or some kind of currant. So I'm just going to let it, I need to rub the leaves actually and give it a good smell, because often with currants there's quite a particular smell, isn't there? But I'm just going to let that develop and see what it is before I decide where to plant it. And on to the squash bed, which is now fully weeded because the weeds were really taking over. And what I've done is I'll just carefully lift you up and take you around. So you may have seen that I'd left the original structures in place, but a lot of the other parts of it had actually come down during the storms, and then I'd chosen to take them down. So I've now put the structure along the top to give it more rigidity, and I've actually strung it, and I might live to regret this, so I may find I have to put more poles in as well, but I'm really quite pleased with the way this has turned out so far. Now obviously I'm nowhere near planting out the squash, but that bed and frame are now ready. And here we are at the Brassica bed. So the cage is now back up, or the frame with the netting. So from kind of here back needs weeding. There are two purple sprouting broccoli plants that, to be honest with you, I'd overwintered them in the polytunnel, and I think they're going to bolt, but I'm going to leave them there for now. But I do need to get that bit weeded. And then just here, again, if I move you round, so you can see a little bit better. Here we go. So these are my cauliflower, and they're variety all the year round, and they're doing really, really well. Here we have the celery, which I actually overwintered, and it's looking great. And then the rest of the bed is filled with my onions, and I have finally got on top of the weeding. So this bed, you may recall, I've got Californian poppies that had self-seeded, and they were completely taking over this bed. But it's never going to be weed free, but it's looking an awful lot better, and the onions are looking really, really healthy. So I'm really pleased with those. And then we'll move along to this bed, which is empty at the moment. Oh, I tell a lie. So these just in the corner here are chives, which my sister gave to me. Her partner Ian actually dug them up and threw them in a pot when I went to visit them last year sometime, and I put them in the ground, and over winter they died back, and they've come back really, really strong. So I'm really pleased with those. And then the rest of this bed is currently empty, and finally, again, pretty much weed free. So you can see these little cinnamon roll looking affairs. Chris actually has made these for me. So they're just cane toppers that he's made out of some pipe lagging on canes, so I can throw a net over that, and then I've got stones to weight it down, but I've taken it off to weed it, and there's nothing in here at the moment. But when I do start things off, I can just chuck a net over to keep those pigeons off. And then behind me, I'm just going to move the camera. So here I've got the raspberry canes, which are the autumn fruiting variety, and you can see there's a couple of them that have gone a little bit floppy, so I'm going to give those some support, but the rest are looking really, really healthy. And then I have actually, believe it or not, started weeding this bed, although it is still full of weeds and desperately needs attention, which is on my to-do list, but I've started kind of weeding up this edge, and the strawberries are at that end. And again, I probably am going to throw some netting over this to keep the pigeons off when they start to fruit. So yeah, apart from needing weeding, looking really good. And then if I really carefully turn you around, you can see the rhubarb is looking great. Still haven't done anything with the compost heaps apart from filling them with all the weeds that I've been pulling out, and there is the rhubarb there still in that pot, which I need to make a decision on. I mean, it's doing okay there, but it's not in the best location, so at some point I will address that. So let's go into the polytunnel. So the wildflower seeds which I've sown in these cells are looking absolutely fabulous, and I need to start preparing that area so we can get these into the ground. And as I've mentioned before, this is a project. It's failed twice with the way that we've tried to do it, so I'm hoping it'll be third time lucky. And I'm going to use my bulb planter to make the holes and then plant these as plugs, and I'm hoping that that will establish them better than the broadcast sowing which I did the last couple of times. And then we will move on. So here on the staging we have got a multitude of seedlings. I've also, and I will talk you through those in a moment, I've got quite a lot going on here in this bed. In my hanging shelves I've got some more seedlings. I've got seedlings in this bed here, just in pots and trays, and then I've got a bit going on in that bed over there with the leeks and onions. So I'm going to, let's do the beds first and then we'll do the seedlings. So in this bed here, these are carrots, and some of these are ones that I'd sown in the autumn and they've been slowly growing over the winter. And then you may recall, let's bring the camera down, in some of the spaces where things hadn't germinated, there's a few weeds as well, but I've just sown, I've just scattered, they're not in lines, and I've got good germination on those, and they're your sort of traditional long carrots. And then over here in this little gap, again I've got some great germination there, and those are the little ball type carrots. Let me just look at the label because I can never remember what they're called. So they are Paris Market Atlas. And then along here, let's just move to the other side because my shelf is in the way. So these are the turnip that I sowed. Now I have sown and grown turnips slowly over the winter months before, but as you can see they're starting to bolt, and in fact if we just have a little look, you can see that they're starting to bolt and flower, and I'm actually going to pull one up and show you. There's an awful lot going on above the ground and very little going on under the ground, and I'm actually going to give up on those. Now I had a good old think about why that might be, and if I'm honest, I don't think I watered them enough. I had a huge amount going on through the winter months and I just didn't pop out and water enough, and of course in a polytunnel it's undercover, it doesn't matter how much it's raining outside, they're not going to get the water in here. So what I'm actually going to do is, nothing gets wasted around here, I'm going to pull those up and they're going to be really tasty treats for the chickens, and then I can just start those again. But the carrots are doing well in this bed as I've shown you. And then here, these were also overwintered. We've got some chard here and some spinach, and they're really starting to look good. And then just down here is a volunteer nasturtium. And I haven't actually grown nasturtium in here for about 3 years, so that's quite interesting. And then let's turn around and look at the bed behind me. So the onions here are doing really well. They are Red Baron, which I'd started from seed, grown through last season, and these were the ones that were just a bit too small when I was harvesting, so I put them back in as sets and I've overwintered them, and they're doing really well, and I will be harvesting those soon because, as you can see, some of them are starting to want to bolt, so I'm going to get those up soon. And then the leek seedlings, they're still looking a little bit straggly, but they're starting to come on, and I will be sowing some more leek seeds soon. And when these get kind of finger width, they will be going into an outdoor bed. And then we'll just look at these trays. Oops, some motorbikes coming past. So in this one, these are more of the cauliflower all the year round, which haven't gone into the ground and really desperately need to. I was planning to give some away, and I haven't seen the people that I intended to give them to, so I need to get those given away or planted out. And then in this one, we've got more of the cauliflower all the year round, but I've also got, oh, lifting out the wrong pot, some peas, which are looking really good. So I've got 2 pots of those peas, and the variety is terrain. So let's just move you around so you can see both of those, and they need to go into the ground soon. And now I will show you all the other seedlings. So we'll start over here, and these are forget-me-not seeds, and there's no germination on those yet. And I have a feeling they're not going to germinate because they were older seed. I've also got here some Digitalis. Again, there's no germination on those yet. So they're your foxgloves. These are cornflower, and they're looking good. Interestingly, I sowed some nasturtium. They haven't germinated, but we've got that one volunteer over there, so that might be my only nasturtium this year. These are I put some sunflower seeds in here, and we've only got one that's germinated so far, but I'll sit tight with those. And then the calendula, the aquilegia, and the dahlia seeds have yet to germinate. I'm hoping you can see all these. Here are Californian Poppy. Yes, I'm a glutton for punishment, but I do love them. They're so pretty. So they will be going into the flower bed this year, rather than interspersing them with the vegetables, because they just went bananas. And then here I've got some calendula, some larkspur, some, I can't even remember, Canterbury bells. Ali, thank you, your giant marigolds are germinating, they're looking great. We've got some more cornflower here, a different variety, some more marigolds from Ali. This is just a bird mix, a little packet. I think it may have come with a magazine, so that'll go out somewhere. And then these are poppies, so they're looking really, really good. And then back to the staging. So here I've got, again, thank you to Ali. Now I can never actually pronounce this, so forgive me. So these were some beans that Ali gave me last year. Auricuous skunk pole, is that right, Ali? And she gave me a packet with a few in, and last year's were an absolute disaster, and this year I only had 2 seeds left, so I planted them and one has germinated. So, you know, we may get to see these beautiful, they're black and white, they're absolutely beautiful beans. And then here are my favourite Bellotto, and I've got some good germination on those. Then I've got some more peas, and these are Ambassador, and they are looking good. These are Brussels sprouts, and they're Evesham Special, and again I've got some good germination on those. And then along the back here, these are all purple sprouting broccoli, which are getting too big for their pots, so they're getting ready to be pricked out and potted on. And I've got, oh, let's put you back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pots of those. Interestingly, one pot not doing as well as the others, but they're looking great. No germination on the basil. These are more Evesham special sprouts, which are looking good. I have got, I said I wasn't doing many tomatoes this year, and I put a few seeds into 2 pots. Absolutely no germination on one. The variety is Moneymaker, and I have one, one tomato plant. So, you know, please, little tomato plant, you're all I've got. So you need to grow. I can't get in to get the celeriac without kind of disrupting everything, but that's doing okay. I've got 4 variety of squash with no germination yet, but I'm not expecting it because it's not long since I sowed them. These are purple sprouting broccoli, which were crowded in a pot, and I've put them into individual pots, and that is them all the way along here. This is a dwarf green kale, and we've got 2 pots of that. These, I think, were 2 beans to a pot, so we've got some great germination. We've got 100% germination on 4 pots and 1 with nothing, and these are dwarf bean variety Rondo. And then in this basket, these are cabbage, and the variety is Greyhound. And again, I'd sown them in pots the same way as I have done with the sprouts and the purple sprouting broccoli and so on. And then these have now been pricked out and potted up into individual pots, and they are in this tray, and they're coming along nicely. And then the only other thing left to show you is that this door is now open. So if you recall from previous videos, this is the door that through the colder months we keep completely closed, and because it's got the mesh and then obviously these gaps, we batten the door closed and we completely cover this with bubble wrap and plastic. But now it is unbattened and unwrapped, and it's open again. So that's the end of today's, or this month's tour. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Do drop me some comments below. How are you getting on with your spring growing? Have you got things outside yet? What have you got growing, and what are you planning to sow? And what are you most excited about this season? So I think for me, I'm always excited about my vegetables, but I'm super excited, as I know I keep going on, but I really am excited about my flower bed, which I'm going to fill with these traditional cottage garden scented colourful flowers. I can't wait to see how that develops. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, please do consider subscribing and hit that bell so you'll get notifications of all my latest videos. But for now, take care, and I'll see you all again really soon.